Hello, my name is Brian Cummins. I'm a Cleveland City Councilman serving the constituents in Ward 14. Well, transparency in government, I think, several of the most important points, and they're somewhat buzzwords and they probably get overutilized, but obviously transparency and accountability. Transparency, I think, means really trying to put out information and share information and to be honest and show information even through a process, as opposed to kind of waiting till things are baked or completed. So transparency, I think, is really trying to show people what you're doing, how you're doing it, the information's being generated, so that they can actually be a part of the process and understand how government's working. I think part of what comes with transparency in my mind is also accountability. I think it's hard to imagine being held accountable if people don't have information to make opinions on, or to have an understanding of maybe how you arrived at an opinion or arrived at a decision or develop legislation. Too often the legislation that we develop or work on can be very multifaceted. And if we wait till the last minute or the end of our process and try to explain it, oftentimes in today's world where people don't necessarily spend a lot of time on issues or don't have a lot of time to spend on issues, if you try to get it all done at the end when everything's done, it's pretty difficult to convey anything that's even the slightest bit complicated. Well, City Council, I think, one thing I think would be good that we achieved in the past several years is we have a fairly interactive website at this point. The calendars and stuff are up there on the site in terms of explaining what pieces of legislation are coming up. Most information gets posted the week before, so it does allow people, if they really want to monitor our legislative calendar, they can do that. In addition, our communications office opened up a Facebook page. I think Jim, our communications guy, is also on Twitter. So they're trying to use some of the social media sites to provide information as well. In addition to that, we do have our committee meetings, but in many ways, I think a critique that I can make on our office is that it's not really easy for people to participate publicly. They can talk in committee meetings, but the protocol normally is that you talk with the committee chair first and kind of prearrange it, which I think is probably pretty normal in a lot of elected bodies. In addition, a critique that we've heard also is in our chambers, our primary kind of official meeting on every Monday. That meeting, we don't allow any public speaking to occur. And I know we've been criticized for that as compared to some cities that do allow it. So, well, in terms of ways in which a city might be able the city council might be able to be more communicative, I think a lot of the communications that are centered around legislation and things that we're doing, oftentimes, or most times, are actually in the hands of either the council leadership or the chairman or chairwomen of the various committees. So, by law, really, our official duties are to conduct committee meetings and to really review and overview legislation, particularly legislation that's coming from the administration. But oftentimes, particularly for issues that require a lot of funding or that may have an impact that's going to last multiple years, I think oftentimes it's difficult for the chair people of those committees to really schedule meetings outside of the formal committee structure. And what I mean by that is our committee structure normally occurs, meetings occur during the day. And it's very difficult for people to get off work, come to those meetings, etc. Now I will say, and I did mention this before, our committee meetings are streamed live on Channel 20, the Cleveland cable network station for the city of Cleveland. So that's actually really interesting, and there's many people that are, in fact, if they're very interested in a particular issue, will tune into Channel 20 and actually watch the committee hearings. But that's pretty much a one-way communications tool in the sense that people aren't really being able to be interactive in that. So I think one of the challenges, based on our very busy schedules, both in committees, in our constituent issues, our development issues in our wards, I think one of the challenges is how can we work potentially in concert with the administration so the council might be able to actually schedule more meetings out in the communities in after-hour periods. I will give the council president a great deal of credit. There's been several summers where we've actually several years in which we've taken our Monday council chamber meetings, which are usually very official in our chambers here at City Hall. And we've actually done a ward or community tours where we've actually taken the Monday meetings out to the public. Now, again, those meetings didn't allow public to participate. They were standard meetings. But I think any time that we try to take our show on the road, so to speak, in terms of having public meetings, particularly where we might be able to allow public interaction, I think that's probably where we would get the best communications in terms of really interactive communications.